If slavery never happened, then you would be in a grass hut.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we need reparations. Your reparations are that you get to live in America.
White Christian nationalism is a cancer in the United States. Racism itself is a vile, putrid, disgusting disease that is antithetical to the belief of any reputable faith at all. Joel Webbon is somebody I've talked about many, many times. The clip I'm getting ready to play may be the most vile that I've ever shared of Joel Webbon and his dipshit little sidekick, in which he says, one, he does like a racist imitation of a black person saying that I'm a king, just gross. But he's telling black people who are upset about the condition of our country and their continued treatment after, 250 years and hundreds of years prior to that, when it wasn't the United States technically, but it was just a European colony, that you should be thankful that you're here. You should be happy that you're here. You should be offering thanks that you're here. He says, if slavery never happened, you should be thankful, because if it never happened, you'd be in a grass hut right now. He says that the greatest moment in the history of any brown or black country is the moment that white man's ships landed on your shores. This is a man of God, a self-proclaimed pastor, a preacher, a teacher, a communicator of the philosophies of Jesus the Christ, telling black people to shut up and be thankful for what you have. Watch this, I hope in horror, and then we'll talk about the nonsense, racist, white supremacy of these ideas on the other side.
Why do white evangelicals struggle with the idea of race? Why do they struggle with
That's
those Europeans that colonized and brought Christianity to the world?
And why are you constantly apologizing for that and struggling with white guilt?
Like race is a real thing. It's not just a social construct. It's in DNA.
Right, because even the conservative guys, when they pushed back against, BLM and we was kings, and all this kind of like black people are great and the only things that's ever been bad about them is because they're victims and have been oppressed and blah, 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 blah. And so when BLM and wokeness and all that stuff was going on, there were conservatives who pushed back. They were a little cowardly and a little late, but eventually they pushed back. But even the ones who pushed back, they pushed back to say, black people aren't that great, but neither are white people, and you're doing identity politics, by, saying that, I'm black and these are my people, but no one should be doing it. Like the way that it was pushed back against, instead of saying, because what should have been said, and I'll probably get clipped for this, but what should have been said is, hey, cut it out. You need to grow up, stop throwing a fit. You're throwing a tantrum, stop being a little boy. You're whining and crying about something that's ultimately your fault.
Yeah.
Stop blaming it on other people. It's your fault. Because here's the deal. It's like, well, slavery. The richest black people on God's green earth are African Americans. If slavery never happened, then you would be in a grass hut.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we need reparations. Your reparations are that you get to live in America. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You get to have the Christian religion.
That's
live
right.
better than your ancestors.
The greatest moment in history for any brown or black country is the moment that the white man's ships arrive on your shore.
If slavery never happened, then you'd be in a grass hut. Your reparations are that you get to live in America. You're welcome. You're welcome. The greatest moment in history for any black or brown person, says Joel Webbon, is the moment that white man's ships arrived on your shore. Let me tell you about what black people suffered through after those white men's ships arrived on their shores. They got hundreds of years of enslavement, oppression, abuse, torture, murder, rape. Not only did black former slaves get nothing after emancipation, President Andrew Johnson, a white Southerner, he made certain that white enslavers were made whole. Reparations, but not for former slaves, reparations for rich white slave owners. After the Civil War, blacks were kept poor, systematically poor, and with almost zero ability to grow wealth. Thousands of black prisoners were leased by southern states to former white enslavers in what were called convict leases, where blacks, again, worked for free while white men made themselves rich again from their labor and upon their broken backs. There were also sharecropping, which grossly exploited black work ethic while allowing the former enslavers to maintain their power and to continue to grow their wealth, their white wealth. Again, ultimately passing that on to future generations of their white descendants. Of course, during this time, there were also Jim Crow laws in place all over the South, which made it illegal for black Americans to occupy the same spaces as whites. Hospitals and bathrooms, private buildings, elevators, phone booths, restaurants, water fountains, everything that was white, which was everything, was off limits for black Americans. Jim Crow laws also intended to force black people into indentured servitude, to limit their voice in the political system by stripping away their constitutional rights to vote, and to control where they live. It was the American legal system explicitly designed for oppressing them. And listen, much like today after the Civil War, when dudes got out of the military, like the guys I served with, they gravitated to jobs within the legal systems. Many former Confederate soldiers took jobs as police and even judges to make certain that there was no justice at any level for black citizens. And thousands upon thousands upon thousands of black Americans who found themselves in the crosshairs of those enforcing these Jim Crow laws were met with violence and death through lynching. Again, much like today. And the few black communities that were able to band together and prosper, accumulating some modicum of wealth, were violently targeted by white men and destroyed. An example of this would be what took place in the early 20s in Tulsa, Oklahoma's Greenwood district, better known as Black Wall Street. It wasn't just Jim Crow, though. Blacks returning from valiant combat service in World War II were once again betrayed by the United States when they didn't get full access to their GI Bill benefits. Whites got them, just like I did when I got into the Marine Corps. Whites benefited. Whites were fully able to take part in wealth building programs offered through the New Deal, but not their black fellow veterans. And when someone was able to scrape together enough to buy a home, they were precluded from doing so because of calculated, discriminatory housing practices called redlining. You know this though, Joel, right? So tell me, Joel Webbon, your goofy little sidekick maybe, or anybody else for that matter, black people should be thankful? Thankful? America wasn't a different nation back then. In so many ways, we are the same country, making the same mistakes, abusing the same peoples, reinforcing those same old traumas. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear from you. You can comment below this video wherever you're watching it. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. If you want to help support this work, I would appreciate that very much. For as little as $2 a month, you can help me reach the millions of people that I do every month with this message. I would appreciate it. You can go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast and become a patron there for $2. Or on YouTube, you can click the join button below the video or just on my channel and become a channel member again for $2 a month. I love and appreciate you very much. We need to do a much better job of being unified and supporting people who are oppressed. We need to end this kind of attitude, these kinds of racist, pernicious attitudes. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.